Buenos días, estudiantes. ¿Cómo están? Es un placer estar por video con ustedes. Me hacen falta. I miss you. I miss you guys. Todos ustedes. Mi periodo 6. Me hacen falta todo. Abigail, Jenna, Mert, Mia, Nia, Naya, Kevin, Alyssa, Patrick y ¿cómo se llama? Jada y ¿cómo se llama? El chico que siempre anda con los zapatos. Brain fart. Bueno, de todas maneras, en mi periodo 2 me hacen mucha falta todos mis estudiantes. Me hace falta Chiqui, me hace falta Kelly, me hace falta Jason, me hace falta Jimmy, Joshi, me hace falta todos los estudiantes. No puedo pensar en los nombres. Bueno, hoy vamos a dar una repasada. Vamos a repasar el capítulo 4, el capítulo 4.1, cuando usamos el pretérito y cuando usamos el imperfecto, ¿ok? Así que vamos a usar el libro. Vamos a usar el libro. Because this is the first time we're going to do online teaching and online learning from your part. This week's going to be fairly easy. We're going to do, most of it's going to be summary, but then next week we're going to get into real learning like we do in class. This week we're going to pretty much review, when to use the preterite and when to use the imperfect tense. Both of them are past tenses in Spanish. And if you go to chapter 4, that's where we left before we went on spring break. We learned the imperfect tense, and this is in la página 203. And on the previous page, we have how to form adjectives out of verbs. I want you guys to review that. How to create adjectives out of verbs. What do those adjectives describe? And I also, today, what I want to do is I want to review the imperfect tense and the preterite tense. I want to make sure that you guys know. En la página 208, there is nota gramatical. And in nota gramatical, it says here the imperfect and the preterite. Okay? So, we've learned they're both in the past tense. Now, what's the difference between the preterite and the imperfect? Well, remember, the preterite is a past that happened in the past and it finished. So we know the beginning and the end, the action is done. The preterite is another past that happened in the past, but we don't know when it finished, or maybe it hasn't finished, or we're not very sure. If we read the book, it says here, use the imperfect to talk about the past activities without saying when they began or when they ended. Okay, so the preterite, we know when it began and we know when it ended. With the imperfect, we do not know when it ended, or we don't talk about when it ended, and we do not talk about when it happened. There are some examples there on that page, and you can apply both of these tenses to talk about two overlapping events. That's when you use them both together. Remember when the last week of class I actually wrote a few examples when to use the imperfect and the preterite both in the same sentence. So I'm just gonna review with you. I'm gonna get this closer to the whiteboard so you can see what I write. I'm gonna write a sentence in the preterite and then a sentence in the imperfect. And then let me see if I can connect them both in one compound sentence. Let me see what the book uses to refresh my mind. It says, cuando la guerra terminó, Santana era presidente de Mexico. When the war ended, Santa Ana was the president of Mexico. Okay, so cuando la guerra terminó, when the war was over, now that is the preterite. It finished and ended. Terminó. The verb terminar. And terminar, la guerra is a noun, a subject that is it in English, and in Espanol it will be it or he or she in this case. Guerra is feminine, so she. The ending for she is O with an accent mark. So cuando la guerra terminó. Then it goes to the other part of the sentence. Santana era presidente. Santana is the last name of someone. So Santana, President Santana, or Santana was president. Was, we didn't say when it began, and we don't know if Santana is still president, according to what we just read. So we don't know beginning and the end. We don't know when Santana became president, but we know that after the war was over, then Santana was president. Now that's kind of like a history thing. Oh wait, I'm gonna write. So now let's use both with things that we do talk about in the classroom, so maybe it makes more sense. Let me move this one more time. Okay. I'm gonna use the word cuando again. Okay, so cuando los estudiantes llegaron a la sala de clases, all right, los estudiantes is the subject. Personal pronoun that can substitute this is ellos. Cuando ellos llegaron. Here is the verb llegar, conjugated with ellos or estudiantes in the preterite. The ending is aron. So cuando los estudiantes llegaron a la clase. This is an action that began and ended. Okay, they came in. Now my second part of this sentence is going to be in the imperfect. Yo estaba en el corredor. Okay, so yo estaba en el corredor. Now we're using the verb estar, and the verb estar is conjugated with yo in the imperfect. Remember, the preterite could have been estuve. But it's incorrect to use the preterite because I didn't tell you when the action ended. Okay? So that will be incorrect. So estuve is the preterite, but the preterite cannot be used because the action never finished, or at least I didn't tell you the action finished. This is how you would use both the preterite and the imperfect in the same sentence. Okay? Now remember, the preterite is an action that happened in the past and ended in the past, and we know when it began and ended. The imperfect is something that happened in the past. We may know when it happened, but we don't have to talk about when it happened, when it began, or when it ended. We never say when we ended. That's why we use the imperfect. Let me use another example of when to use both the imperfect and the preterite combined in the same sentence. Okay, remember again, you can check your notebook, because I remember when I left, that week before we left for spring break, we did a few examples of combining these two. Now remember, all this is also in your book. I want you guys to be using your books a lot. Use the students' resources. Start practicing all this. This is gonna be on a quiz. You have to use both. Remember, on the last quiz you guys did, a lot of you did not do well in that quiz because you thought you knew how to conjugate verbs in the imperfect, and you did not. You forgot all the endings. So you need to review the endings. You need to know the endings in the in the preterite and also in the imperfect for the next quiz. A good thing to remember is that in the imperfect, pretty much all verbs, regular and irregular, have the same endings, except for only three verbs are irregular, and you have them written down in your notebook. If I remember well, they're the verb ir, the verb ser, and I don't remember the third verb. I think it's the verb ver. I will check on that, and on the next video I will let you know. Also, you can send me messages on Google Classrooms, and you can share with everybody else if you remember the third verb. But if I'm not mistaken, it's the verb ir, ser, and ver. Going back over here, another example. Garrett Mallory, would you please be quiet? Oh my gosh, man, I can't turn around and you start talking again. You too, Aiden. Cuban. Silencio. Wish you all were like Sienna. Sienna doesn't talk a lot in class. Hola, hasta la vista. Eddie! Eddie's the one student I didn't remember the name. Oh my gosh, now it's all coming back. Okay, another example. I'm gonna do the preterite part in black and the imperfect part in red, so it's more clear to you. Okay, Jason, can you please put Garrett Mallory's water bottle back in his bag? Stop taking it. It's not funny anymore. All right, an action that happened in the past and stayed in the past. Okay, hopefully this helps you guys. The sentence is, and I know you guys, and I'm sorry about this, that when I write on the board, maybe on the side of your screen, the words are backwards or something. So this is how I see it from here. Maybe I'm mistaken, but here we go. Cuando mi mamá cocinó la cena. That is an action that happened in the past and it stayed in the past. It's finished. When my mom cooked dinner, now the dinner's finished, it's all done. Yo iba a la tienda de ropas. I was going to the clothes store. It doesn't tell you if I came back, if I arrived to the store. It just tells you that I was on my way to the store, but it doesn't tell you when I began the action and when I finished the action. But the first sentence tells you that when my mom finished dinner, cooking dinner, then that is the preterite. And you can switch them both around too. For example, you can say, cuando mi mamá cocinaba la cena, yo fui o yo llegué a la tienda. So, this one means, cuando mi mamá cocinaba la cena, look at the ending, aba. That means this verb is in the imperfect. When my mom was cooking dinner, okay, we didn't say that she finished cooking dinner. As she was cooking dinner, I arrived, yo llegué to the store. So this action ended. I arrived to the store. I'm there. So I arrived. So, see, it doesn't have to be always the preterite first and then the imperfect second. It could be either way. The imperfect first and the preterite second, or the preterite first and the imperfect second. I hope you can see well the two examples. If I get a little closer, hopefully you can see better. But then I have to be moving these are two examples. I want you guys to practice and practice and practice. Memorize, please, all the endings of the verbs in the preterite. Remember, in the preterite, irregular verbs are irregular. There are some that have stem changing, 6 of them or something. And in the imperfect, there's 3 that are irregular. But then every other verb could be conjugated the same way, whether they're regular or irregular verbs. It is different to be teaching in my classroom without you guys in here. I miss y'all, I miss the noise, I miss your smiling faces. But I know you're smiling right now, okay? And if you're not smiling right now, no, I can't make you guys smile at this time because this video is for everyone to see, and I don't know, people may not understand my jokes, so, but you guys do. So, and this video is mainly for you guys. So, adios amigos, hasta la vista, and remember, make it a great day or not, the choice is yours.